Chapter 20. Moving Up North. There was an event in my life, simple but unforgettable, that completely shifted my perspective about a culture I once misunderstood. It was the 1970s. After my brother's death, our family left the Detroit area and moved to Vanderbilt, Michigan. We were city slickers, grieving and disoriented in small-town country life. That first fall, we became friends with Dave and Rita Bunker, lifelong residents of Vanderbilt and parents of 12 children. They were devout Roman Catholics, full of humor and hospitality, and quickly welcomed us in. One winter night, they invited us over for pinochle. When we entered their home, the first thing we noticed was a duck sitting in the living room, calmly staring at its own reflection in a mirror propped against the wall. We sat down in the kitchen, sipping coffee and talking about life in the North. Suddenly, Dave stood up, grabbed the cat, opened a kitchen cabinet, tossed the cat inside, and shut the door. Jan and I were stunned. A moment later, we heard some rustling. Dave opened the door, and out came the cat with a mouse in its mouth. Without comment, he carried the cat and mouse outside. Still processing, I turned to Rita and asked, "Why is there a duck in your living room?" She said, "His mate died this morning. We didn't want him to freeze." "And the mirror?" "So he wouldn't feel lonely." That night was my first true encounter with country people. At first it was easy to laugh, city instincts kicking in. A duck in the living room, a cat in the cabinet, really. But what I came to understand was this: Dave and Rita weren't strange. They were human, deeply human. They had their own way of doing things, practical, rooted, surprisingly tender. Would I keep a duck indoors? Probably not. Toss a cat in a cupboard? No thanks. But I learned something lasting from them. Something about the richness of life beyond my own frame of reference. Years later, I was hospitalized with chest pains. A blocked artery led to a stent, and doctors advised lifestyle changes, especially diet. Trish, who had been a vegetarian before we met, gently introduced the idea of plant-based eating. I resisted at first, but eventually proposed a 30-day vegan trial. No meat, no dairy, nothing with the face, or from a face. It wasn't easy, but we did it. That trial became a 15-year journey of plant-based living. Health issues eventually led me to reintroduce small amounts of fish and dairy, but the way I saw food and life was already changed. So what does this have to do with Dave and Rita? They hunted, they fished, they filled their freezer with venison and stocked their pantry with canned fish. And still they brought a grieving duck indoors and gave it companionship. In recovery, there's a saying, take what you need and leave the rest. That's exactly what I did with Dave and Rita. I didn't adopt every aspect of their life, but I carried their compassion with me. I learned from their love for animals, for each other, for people like us who were strangers in a strange land. Their lives taught me that real connection isn't about shared habits. It's about shared humanity. It's because of them I learned that we're all in this together. Diversity, I've come to believe, is one of God's greatest gifts. It's what stretches us, humbles us, and opens our hearts to wisdom we never knew we needed. Trish often says, if two people are exactly alike, one of them is unnecessary. And I've found that to be true. We grow when we listen. We grow when we open ourselves to what's unfamiliar. And we grow when we allow others, like Dave and Rita, to shape our thinking, soften our judgments, and remind us that love wears many faces, sometimes even a duck's.